Absorbing direct labor and manufacturing overhead costs into the cost of finished items is essential for any manufacturing company because it is the only way to know what it costs to make your products. Furthermore, absorption costing is required for GAAP and IRS accounting compliance because it defers labor and overhead costs until items are sold, when those costs are realized through cost of goods sold. The Shop Rates screen is a DBA innovation that facilitates establishing hourly rates for absorption costing. The purpose of the Shop Rates screen is to calculate hourly shop rates from actual costs and reported labor hours over a past date range. By default, the screen loads data for the past 3 complete months. Total hours reported through job labor transactions are displayed in this panel. Using data gathered from your accounting system's general ledger for this same date range, you enter total direct labor costs in this panel. Direct labor costs are the actual payroll costs associated with production workers, as well as bills paid for contract workers. In the next panel, enter total manufacturing overhead costs. Manufacturing overhead includes all the indirect costs associated with the manufacturing process, including the factory's share of rent, utilities, maintenance, supplies, taxes, insurance, and depreciation, as well as payroll costs for indirect labor, such as shop manager, supervisor, shipping, receiving, warehouse, inspection, and maintenance employees. You then click the Calculate button. The program divides total actual costs by total reported labor hours to calculate an hourly shop rate for direct labor and an hourly shop rate for manufacturing overhead. These hourly shop rates provide the costing basis for cost roll-ups and job labor transactions from this point forward. Click Save to apply these hourly rates to your work centers. Hourly shop rates provide the basis for work center hourly rates. Here in the work center screen, the hourly shop rates are displayed in the left column. Shop rates can be factored up or down with these middle settings to accommodate any exceptions to the shop average. For example, you may wish to reduce the labor factor against a machine-based work center that is only partially attended. The factored hourly rate is shown here to the right. As another example, you may wish to increase the manufacturing overhead factor against a machine that consumes a disproportionate share of utilities and maintenance. Again, the factored hourly rate is shown here to the right. The hourly rates in the right-hand column get applied to routing sequence cycle times when calculating estimated costs or costing job labor transactions. The Cost Roll-Up screen is used to calculate estimated costs for manufactured items. The Batch Roll-Up rolls up routing and component costs for all manufactured items in a single batch process. Costs are rolled up through all levels of the product structures to establish a total estimated cost for each parent item, which is displayed here in the middle panel. In the lower grid, the total estimated cost is broken out into cost elements for material, setup, labor, manufacturing overhead, and subcontract services. Whenever a job gets generated, an estimated job cost is calculated, which can be viewed in the job inquiry. Here we are looking at the estimated job cost elements, and down here in the column Total, we see the total estimated job cost. During the course of a job, costs accumulate in WIP as materials are issued, job labor is updated, and job subcontracting purchase orders are received. Here we are looking at the WIP value report. Work in process is automatically tracked without any need to count materials in WIP or make manual adjustments of any kind. Accumulated job costs flow from WIP into inventory when finished job outputs are received in the job receipt screen. Here we are entering the final receipt quantity for this job. The unit cost is calculated by the program so that the total receipt cost offsets total job costs, and absorbs job costs from WIP into the item's inventory value. Here we are looking at the job output item on the inventory value report. When the item is received, the receipt cost, which includes absorbed labor and overhead, is averaged with the cost of any stock on hand. When the item is eventually sold, the inventory cost flows through to cost of goods sold to provide a gross margin at the item level that reflects a complete cost profile. Jobs are closed in the Job Control panel. When a job is closed, any variance between total job input costs and total job receipt costs, which you see in this column, is posted to a WIP adjustments account. This job closing process makes the WIP account fully self-adjusting without any need for period-end procedures or manual adjustments. So if you have been operating in the dark without knowing your item labor and overhead costs, and without WIP tracking and accounting, DBA provides these essential capabilities. Absorption costing is easy to achieve with our unique shop rate screen and self-adjusting WIP and inventory accounts.